What is up guys, Clay Enjoyer here, and it's time to enjoy. And in this video, we'll be playing ping pong. Of course, I'm actually just kidding, because what happened is I was playing ping pong so well that I actually spiked the ball so hard it made it explode into a piece. So now I have to sculpt something with the ping pong ball to hide the evidence, which of course is the broken vessel from Hollow Knight. With the base made, I need to add some horns to add some extra detail and to smooth them into the rest of the mask. Or skull, I'm not really sure. I've kind of had to look up a few lore videos going over Hollow Knight. I'm never really sure. I'm gonna say it's a mask, but with the mask made so far, I need to also carve out some eye holes so the broken vessel can actually see the Hollow Knight, or the Knight, but that's hollow, but not the Hollow Knight. I don't know. But I still have to smooth it out though, because I want this guy to look as pristine as I can make him. Of course, that's excluding the giant infection blob from his head, but we'll get to that eventually with carving out the neck at the moment so the eventual lights can go through it. I wanted to make this video extra interesting. That is also why I chose the ping pong ball, because they're translucent, good for conducting light, but I wish it was a little bit more transparent. But then again, who has ever seen a transparent ping pong ball? That just seems a little funky to me, so I can smooth out the rest of the neck and not even think about it. Now that the mask is almost complete, I need to add one final detail, which is the crack that goes from the top into one of the eye holes. With this detail carefully done and touched up off camera, I can make it a little base and start building up the actual body. But technically, the body is actually not even there, and the clay is just to cover it up and make it look extra spooky, like a cloak and a cape, because inside I'm gonna need room to add the lights, and I can carefully smooth everything together, but it was holding itself like barely. It was very flimsy, and I had to fix it several times off camera, but you guys won't know that. It only looks good on camera, never off camera, because that's when I break it, not on camera, before then turning all the worms into extra fancy poses instead of just flat and sterile, giving them a little bit more life, even though this creature is dead, I think. I'm not fully sure. I think he's like a zombie, reanimated from the infection. Luckily, nothing actually broke in the oven. I am very glad that this happened, because throughout the entire process, I was very skeptical. But of course, it wasn't completely complete. I did have to fill in a little bit of gaps here and there, because I am testing the light, as you can see right now, and a couple of the spots were where light was shining through, and I wanted to cover it up, because I thought that if light was showing through, it would ruin the illusion. But with those covered, I can now make the nail, or more specifically, the broken nail, which I don't know why it's called a nail, because it looks nothing like a fingernail. It looks like a cross between a mouse clicker and a greatsword, in my opinion. But with it being broken up off camera, I can quote unquote add it to the back, and then I can move on. And now the next step is to finally paint. And I figured, because I'm going to be painting everything black, which is going to take a couple clips. Well, and I figured I'd explain a little bit of the lore of Hollow Knight. So basically, it's just a 2D Metroidvania, which is all hand-drawn animations and backgrounds. It's really cool, and it's a really in-depth story. But the reason I'm painting it black is because all the drawings have black outline. And I figured if I had the black at the underneath, instead of trying to add it back in, that it would look a lot better. And I definitely agree. And except for this white, which was really annoying to have to paint, everything else was a lot easier, Granted, because there also wasn't that many details to do, because the game characters don't have that much detail slash texture, I just wanted to add a little bit more with the variations of grayish, blackish blue, because it was a tiny bit flat, and I just wanted to bring a touch bit of more color into it, because again, color always makes everything more interesting. Even if it is mostly just grays, whites, and blacks, it is always more visually appealing than just being 100% monotone. Of course, being incredibly careful not to overpaint any of these details. None of them had to be repainted, I swear. With some additional last checks to make sure everything was good, I filled in the eyes with a little bit of hot glue and some hot glue on the lights as well, almost like the broken vessel has an idea. But with the light tested and it works, I can add this disgusting infection blob, which there's the ping pong ball. And I definitely should have planned this out a little bit better, but the hot glue kept melting the ball, so I'm really hoping I don't die in like a year from melted ping pong ball poison or the vapors, but whatever, it is what it is. And I can start painting the blob to make it look even more disgusting with different shades of oranges and yellows to make it look extra shiny, because I want this blob to look as good as it can on and off camera. Granted, it's not going to look that good off camera. I like it better when it's with the lights on rather than the lights off, but I'll let you form your own opinion. I'm not your mom. Now, with the final touches on the eyes completed and the broken nail glued in place, I can push those two to the side and start working on the base. Of course, because I gotta hide the giant light strip and because it looks pretty stinking ugly. Then again, this bright blue foam disc is pretty ugly as well. But don't worry, it'll be less ugly soon. But first, I do need to carve out a battery hole. I'm not going to carve out all of these on camera, but just know that it was very annoying and very time consuming, because the perfectionist in me, I kept trying to get it perfectly flat, but then again, at some point, I was worried about just going through the foam entirely, so I just left it alone with that. And so hopefully the gap will fit for the batteries, which I hope that's good enough, because I didn't really think to check it. Now with this texture that I've made, I can just go over and paint it all. I don't really know what this texture is. I just kind of looked at the reference pictures, which looked like the ground was a bunch of like plates or scales, because it was a very repeated pattern followed by these even darker shadows, because of course this base has to be more black and even dark grays, because why would this base be interesting? Why would it have color? Of course it's only going to have shades of black, but I can glue it in and the battery pack off camera, and then it is time for the reveal. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more infectiously good content like this in the future. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.